hit the record button, and we'll go ahead and get started. So our agenda for tonight, or what we're really going to discuss, is exactly what EndNote is. Now, if you attended the Citation Manager webinar that I did last week, that I did last Thursday, which was basically about all of the different citation managers that are supported by the university. So one of them was EndNote, one of them is Zotero, and one of them is Mendeley. And so I kind of talked about, what Zotero, what EndNote actually is, and if you're interested, it's basically it's a citation manager software system. Users can insert citations into documents, create bibliographies and reference lists, assist users with reference styles such as APA, AMA, and MLA, and allows users to import records and documents from other sources. I accidentally skipped ahead. Next part of the agenda that we'll talk about after talking about exactly what EndNote is how to obtain EndNote, as well as I'm going to cover on how to get started using it, and then the setup, and then creating your own new EndNote library. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Another thing that I'd like to throw out really quick is that if you have any questions about what I'm doing, if you could possibly save them until the end of the session, that would be much appreciated. We have a lot of information to go through, and I'm going to try to see if I can fit it in within the 45-50 minute time period, just so we have a good 10 minutes or so just to talk about any questions or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and jump off. So we already talked about exactly what EndNote is. As we all know, it's a citation management tool. For the majority of you that are in the IPE 7000 or 7050 courses, you'll find the access to it, from my understanding, in a few different areas. One of them is in the resource section, I believe. Yes, Kelly, we're in the middle of the session. Yes, everybody can still hear me, right? All right, perfect. Cool. All right. So how to obtain EndNote? EndNote, you can access EndNote. It's provided by the University of St. Augustine's post-professional programs exclusively. It's really one of the differences, really, between some of the residential programs and the post-professional programs, is that it's provided by the various programs. Therefore, those departments, some of which that are listed there, have the product key, and if you need help with anything concerning EndNote, the library can help you. I would say the only thing that is kind of out of our realm is essentially anything that would deal with the product key or with the actual troubleshooting the technical issues with the software. What the library provides is that we provide support, basic and advanced troubleshooting with the tool once it's already uploaded. But again, I must stress that the USA Library does not provide access to EndNote. It's a completely independent product compared to everything else that we have and that we support. So definitely want to make that known. So getting started, one of the things that I'm going to go over as far as getting started after the product has been downloaded, after you've entered your product key. Some of the things I'm going to go over are basically customizing your EndNote layout. view and edit items, searching your own library, as well as creating groups for things like group projects. Or there's this really interesting and really great tool that's called Smart Groups, which I'll talk about in just a few minutes or kind of glance over. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit my presentation really quick and take you to EndNote. So majority of you guys, when you begin after the software has been downloaded, and as soon as you launch your first session, most often than not, you won't really see anything. The actual library will appear like this, because what it wants you to do is go over to the File menu, go to New, and then create a library. But what I've done just for this demonstration, at least for this part, is to just sort of show you what a normal library looks like, and sort of make you aware of some of the different tools and features that you can use. So I'm going to maximize this a little bit so you can see it in a little bit more detail. But so if you have an active library going on, which a library is your list of articles here. This is your library. This is pretty much exactly what it's going to look like. Now, with EndNote, just like a lot of the other citation management tools, you can change the layout to your liking, which I always enjoy. The groups panel, just so you know, like some of the verbiage that I might use, when you see groups panel right here, where my mouse is sort of circling around, this is considered the groups panel, is this panel right here, which I like to call the My Library panel, just because it, to me, makes a little bit more sense. Although that you can create groups over here, it's just odd for me to call it the groups panel, and it just doesn't seem that way, But so if you wanted to get rid of this panel completely, there's a few things you can do. You can use the line feature to change it, like so. You can also go down here and just do groups off, and it'll just completely get rid of that panel completely. This is just like a viewing thing to know. If you want to keep it, then go back to viewing it on the left. That's totally cool. The reference panel, which of course is this panel, most of the citation manager tools that are out there typically are in a 3-panel system. So you have the library / groups panel, the actual reference panel, or like the library panel, really. And then like this is like the reference panel, which basically sort of details each of the references that are in your library. So if I'm clicking on West right here, the one for the effects of naturalistic light, if I click on it there, it gives me information about that particular citation that's there. And again, you can change it up however you want. You can have the reference panel. This is the reference panel on your right. You can change it to where it sort of goes down the middle. And really, I would say the advantage of this is essentially that seeing in the chat, is everyone having issues seeing my screen right now, or is that okay? I see Tiffany is having an issue. Okay, hope. I think the majority of people are doing okay with it. Great, thank you. If anything, it's recorded, so if you have to come back to it, I can post the recording in the IP 7000 course, IPE 7050 course, as well as on the library's website. So it'll be around, so don't worry about that. So back to what I was talking about with the layouts, the perks to having this layout, and it's a little tough to see. I have a fairly big screen, but the way that I normally have it is that the citation panel is a little bit larger. But this panel is really more for if you already have PDF documents attached to the citations. I'll show you in a little while, but if you click on one, the actual loaded PDF document would show up over here. You can do it on the bottom if you want to do that, where you have that option kind of cascading down here. Or you can split it. I mean, there are lots of different things you can do, or you can just completely take it off completely. I just like to keep it in its, I guess, like its default setting. It seems to work pretty well with me. So what's next? What do we need to talk about? Viewing items. I kind of started touching upon this a minute ago. If you want to view one of your citations, and this is your citation panel again, you would just simply select it, and it'll tell you everything that was carried, or that was the bibliographic information that was downloaded to EndNote from a particular citation. Now, I know that sounds really complicated, but we'll talk about that in just a little while. But let me maximize so you can see it a little bit better. What I mean by the bibliographic information, if you click on, say, this first one that I have highlighted, what it does is that it essentially shows you all of the metadata which was extracted and that is entered here just to just to create a populated citation. Now, this is editable as well, so if you needed to do a quick edit, then you can do that if you want. You can change the author if you want. If I authored this, it'll probably ask you to save it if that's the case, and if you don't want to save it, of course, click no. But you can do other things with the citation as well. I'll go back to it. You can create a hyperlink for it, I see, and we'll talk about citations as far as including them into Word documents later, but I just want to show you that. Now, to get rid of this, we're just going to click the X button right here, and then we go back to the library that we have so far. These are just sample articles that I typically just like to keep in the box. Some other things to know as far as like basic functions while you're using it. First things first, if people have asked me about this before, that's why I'm mentioning it, is why is it that some of these are not bolded but some of them are? Well, it basically is that it kind of works like your email, is that the ones that haven't been viewed, those remain bolded, whereas the ones that have, of course, are they're not bolded anymore. So definitely want to point that out. Another thing is, if you right click on any of the citations there, you can travel to the record summary, which is this right here. You can also manually add a reference if it's not available. Now, I would say the majority of the time you won't have to do this as much. But I'm sure that there are instances where a reference has to be manually entered. But I would say for the most part, as far as with the different resources that we have available through the library, I'm kind of feeling that doesn't happen super often. But if it does happen, you can do it that way. Edit references, just as I was doing just a few minutes ago. One of the great things about EndNote really is that it has a lot of different ways just to show you how to do one thing. So as I was just showing you a minute ago, that if you want to edit a reference, you can just click reference and edit it as you want, and do the save and go back. You can also do that up here by clicking on the reference, right-clicking on it, and editing it from that way, which is kind of cool because it just kind of gives you a lot of different ways just to do the same thing, which sometimes some people like that. So some of the other things, add some of the references to a custom group. I'll talk about custom groups and whatnot in a minute. Emailing references, you can do that. You can copy, cut, and paste references from another library that you have created through EndNote. You can do as well. But let's see, let me look at my notes really quick. A couple of other things that are people usually ask me about are deleting references. Now you see that I've already kind of deleted a few of these, and you might have seen it before, but if you want to delete a reference, you're not going to necessarily see the word delete. You're going to basically just see move references to trash. Now if you want to do one, you can click on the one, move references to trash, and click on that, and it goes right to the little trash bucket that's right here. If you want to do a few of them, here's a tip. You click on one, and then you hold the control button down on your keyboard, and then you click another one, and then you click another one, and then you click another one. And if you're satisfied with those are the ones that you want to get rid of, you simply just then right click and move references to trash just by doing that. So we can do that here if you want. Actually, we'll do that for a few of them. So click, control, and then select the ones you want. Or if you want to just get rid of all these, you just do control on your keyboard and the letter A as an alpha, and then you just hit delete, or you move it to trash. You can also, drag and drop as well, which is pretty cool. So anyway, that's just, some of the basic, functions as far as setting up your personal library page and exactly how to use the library page. So the other thing that I'd like to mention as far as when you're moving citations to the trash group or the trash folder is that the next time that you close the program down, you may get a message that asks you whether you would like to empty the records from your trash. You can do that by going to the references menu and going to delete trash references. You can do it just by going to references and then delete trash. Now, when you hit the delete trash references, and if you confirm that you want to delete the references and you then delete them, they're gone. So, so if you don't want to delete them, don't put them over there. But as soon as they're in the trash, and as soon as you click the delete trash references option here, it's pretty much like gone. As you'll see right here, are you sure you want to delete the records? And this cannot be undone. And I'm just going to say, I'm going to bite the bullet right here. So anyway, actually, it's probably going to, this is what I should have done. There we go. So now we're empty. This whole library is completely empty now, which is good because that kind of brings us to our next part, which is creating a library. So often when we are starting with EndNote, when you first begin, I'm sorry, I meant to start with that slide I was on. I'm sorry. So usually, as I was just showing a few minutes ago, when the program is downloaded and you begin, you basically then begin to add citations into your library. So I'll go ahead and show you pretty much how easy that is, really, just to get started on that level. So we're going to go to create a new library. Compared to the one the sample one I just had here, I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to hit New. And this is for us to create the new library. Now, you can save it into your documents library if you want. I usually like to save items, especially things I'm going to be using a lot of. I usually like to save them to my desktop, just so if I need to access them immediately, I can go right to it. So I've created a few of these. So I'm going to put my EndNote library too. You can name it whatever you want, but just click save. And once you click save, it'll automatically generate your EndNote library right there. So you can just essentially get started immediately. So there's a couple of things to, well, I have to backtrack on two of the things that I wanted to point out, but which I'll come back to in just a minute. I'm making myself a note for that. I was going to show you how to sort references, but I can do that after we've done some searching. Excuse me. One of the interesting things about EndNote really is that EndNote provides this in-platform search tool, which if EndNote was a you know, where in, I guess the easiest terms I can try to make it is that EndNote in a way is sort of an interesting tool in the fact that it has that it's a citation manager, that it helps you input citations into your research, but then also it has a component where you can actually search the web using EndNote as your primary search engine, which is, I'll show you in just a minute how to do that. But one of the things I want to talk about before I start searching is the groups that you can form. Remember, this is considered the group panel, and as you see, or I can already see where it says My Groups located here. The groups panel, you can do it here if you want, but you can also go up here to the top and create a particular create a group. So you can basically automatically generate whatever group, name it whatever you would like to name it, and you can drag and drop references into the groups. You can name it, like I said, whatever you would like. I'm going to name this one virtual reality because that's going to be one of the searches that I do. You can also create something called smart groups, which the cool thing with this smart groups, and you'll see it right up here, is that what smart groups do is let's say we want to do one on, I don't know, stroke. We're just going to name it stroke, and what we'll do is we will provide the smart group with rules. Now, the other groups, they don't necessarily have rules, and what makes the difference, I guess, between you're creating a regular group for your citations versus creating a smart group is that a smart group, you can set rules to the smart group. So let's say I'm doing a search in PubMed, for instance, which in reality is the only thing that you're really able to search using EndNote, is that if you wanted to set up a smart group to where it only searches for information that is been written by James Carter, then you could enter the author's name right up here at the top, Carter James, and if any information or any searches that we do where that appears, stroke and the author James Carter appears, it would, after we do a search, it would drag those articles into the smart group because we're basically providing it with searching rules, basically. So what would happen is and I'll show you what I mean in just a few minutes, but what it would basically do is it would just take all of the various articles that you can find of that certain topic by the author or by year, or as you can see by title. It even does it by keyword, and it would include them into a folder of its own. So actually, I'm going to switch my groups up. I'm going to make this a little bit more challenging for myself because I do this one a lot. But I'm just going to do stroke for this one as a general group. So I'm just going to look up any information about stroke, stroke rehabilitation, things like that. And I'm going to create a smart group that has to do with virtual reality, because that's going to be one of the things that I'm going to look up in this. Is the sample that I'm going to do is virtual reality. So I'm going to call the group virtual reality. and then I'm going to set the rule that basically says that any search that I might do, anything to do with stroke or stroke rehabilitation, it will pull an article that has virtual reality in the title. Now you can go crazy with this too. I mean, you can go down to, like I said, keywords before. I'm sure you can go all the way down to subjects, or you can custom create this if you'd like. I don't want to go too deep into this, but I just want to show you that it is a really great tool that is provided by EndNote that I think is really cool. So I'll do a search in just a few minutes, and then you can also do something that's called a combination group, which basically you can select existing groups and or smart groups together, and you can create like almost like a super group, basically, where in the combination group you can provide it rules, you can give it Boolean operators and things like that. I just say that when you get to the combination group, I think you're like, working at an extremely high level. The other great thing about the groups is that the groups are also shareable. It's shareable with anyone, even if they're not necessarily EndNote users. They can be emailed, to your personal emails or anything like that. So just wanted to point that out. Another thing, I already did the creation of the library, so we could kind of get that started. The next thing I wanted to do was talk about searching, which is a question I've gotten a lot in the past. Originally, when EndNote was provided as a possible tool for students in the post-professional programs to use, it was sort of miscommunicated that the USA Library could be searched using EndNote, because a lot of other university libraries are actually included, but that's actually not the case. EndNote is a product of, I believe it's called Claravant Analytics, which is a part of a which maintains a database which is called Web of Science, which is a great database that has different disciplines that all pertain to sciences. So medical sciences are definitely featured, but the database in general, or at least from my experience of actually using it, is a lot of engineering sciences, a lot of physical sciences, and things like that. And as the university, as the library, kind of looked at acquiring that database, we actually had a lot of the information that is featured in the medical science portion of Web of Science already in our collection currently. So where I'm getting at is that the library, if our library was compatible with the EndNote product that we have here, that you could potentially search the USA Library using EndNote, but that's not the case. That, in fact, really the only searchable the only searchable database that can be searched using EndNote is PubMed. So I'm just going to show you where I'm going with this, is that to do any sort of searching using EndNote, you're going to want to, all right, just go ahead and consider that this file folder is your local library. You'll see it when I hover over it. It says local library mode. If I'm in the local library mode, which is the little folder here, I can only search what is located in my library. Now, if I go to the globe here, which is which is the online search mode, which is a temporary search, you can do that, and it'll change. You'll see that it'll move from your library to the web. And really by web, it's basically PubMed. I typically like to have both of the both my library showing as well as well as the web search feature showing. So I usually like to go for the one that's like the combination one, which is the integrated library. But to make sure that you're, searching only PubMed, this is how it's set up. So you're going to go to Edit up here at the top, and you're going to go to Preferences. And Preferences, you're then going to head over to the Find Full Text right down here. And with Find Full Text, you'll see that there's a number of these that are checked. You'll see the one for Web of Science full text links is checked. Unfortunately, we don't have access to that, but it's okay just to maintain that it's checked. It's completely fine. The DOI feature here, you can have that checked, but the one that's most important that you should have checked is the PubMed link out for the National Library of Medicine. Now, making sure all these are checked, all you're going to do is just click OK. Now, if one of these wasn't checked, like the PubMed one, I'd click it, hit Apply, and then OK. So that's what I'm going to do now. So searching. So I'm going to demonstrate a basic search using the search engine feature that is within EndNote. It takes just a few minutes. I'm just going to do a title search for stroke rehabilitation. And remember, I have the different the groups kind of already put together over here. Now, me searching for stroke is not necessarily going to mean that everything funnels over into stroke, but you might see this one over here for virtual reality light up. You might. I haven't done this one before, so bear with me. I don't really like to plan these out typically when I do them. So, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and hit search right here at the top. You can also hit enter as well if you want to do that. You can also click up here for online search, but click search. And it'll pop up, and it's just searching PubMed only. It tells us prior to us clicking OK that there are 3,804 records, which the records can be citation records. They can also be citation records accompanied by full text documents, web pages, etc. I'm not going to do 300 or 3,800 of them. I'll just do 50 and just see how, and I'll just show you what it looks like. So click OK. And there we go. It starts to populate. So I just did a really broad one there, really broad one for stroke rehabilitation. And as I said, doing the virtual reality one, it knocked one of them automatically in there, which was kind of cool. Now, since I didn't set up any rules here, then me doing a search for strokes not going to populate anything over here. But what it does do is that when I want to organize my research, I can just drag and drop. So I'm using this Allen article for gait rehabilitation and just dragging it over to stroke and putting it there, and it shows up right there. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is the full text part. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to locate the full text for the articles that I've searched for in PubMed. So what I'll do is I'll click on one of these, and I'll do a Control, and then hit the A button to make sure everything's my bad. I'm going to do Control All. Then I'm going to go to References there at the top, and go to Find Full Text, and then I'm going to click on Find Full Text here. And what it's going to do is it's going to do an additional search on top of the one I did, the keyword title search I did, and locate items that are full text, articles associated with the PubMed citations that we've pulled. Some of these do come pulled from PubMed. Some of them come pulled from the internet as well. So, or pulled from the open web or open access, maybe that's the best way to say it. So I'll hit the find full text now. So remember, references, find full text, and now it's doing a search. You'll see it pop up over here where it's starting a search. And as it's going along, it's going to tell us what we immediately have access to. Now this, of course, doesn't mean that if it doesn't show up as that it doesn't have a PDF document or a web page associated with it means that the library doesn't have it. That's not true. What we could do after that is look for the item in Search USA, or we can look for the item, using Google Scholar, or if it's not available, we can also order the article using interlibrary loan. So if you're using this as one of your search tools, it's totally cool, totally fine. But just know that if there's something you're looking for and it doesn't necessarily come up immediately, then don't necessarily think that that you failed, because there are lots of different options. I'm going to let this ride for a few minutes. I'm going to look at my notes for 1 second. We're at 9:38, so we're actually in real time. So I'm going to continue with this, and hopefully we'll end doing a citation or transferring a citation. Next, we're going to talk about transferring citations from Search USA, which is kind of, probably one of the most important things that we'll discuss, as well as how to insert a citation into a Microsoft Word document as well. So you also will have that. So I'm going to let it, I think we're almost done. Sometimes it takes a few minutes. Now, can you imagine if it was, more than 50? I mean, I've actually made a mistake before to where I downloaded a lot, or I playing with it, brought up a lot and didn't think about it, and then I tried to get full text, and I was here for a while. So, so with that, as we're continuing to find full text with these documents, what you'll see pop up are these little paperclip icons over here. And of course, this just means that there's a PDF, or there's typically a PDF associated with the citation. So if we click on the citation, let me maximize this a little bit. If we click on the citation, we can, if you wanted to bring back the reference panel, the split panel, you can click on and maybe shrink this a little bit. If you see one that has a paperclip associated with it, you can click on it and you'll see the bibliographic data here in the reference panel. And then you'll see that since we went searching for full text after locating it located us the PDF file, and it automatically uploaded the PDF file for us, and the PDF file is located over here. Now, if you wanted to view the PDF file, as far as if you wanted to read it or make notes on it, you could actually do that by going to, well, you don't really necessarily have to have the panel open. You can actually just go, you have the reference panel preview, which gives you a preview of the ALA citation, if it's, or APA, sorry, gives you the APA citation if that's set, but you can click on the PDF icon up here to view the article in full. If you want to disconnect it so you can read the article, you can just click on this little button right there that allows you to open it. And you can, as you're reading through it, I mean, you can open it up, you can make notes on it. It's pretty neat. It's pretty cool. So interesting feature. Let's close that up, and we're not going to keep that particular part, but just wanted to let you know that that's really what that means, and that's good because we were able to locate a lot of full text information just from that search. So that's pretty good. You can also click on the found full text documents, so 20, and you can view them that way, or the found URL, which these won't necessarily take you to the PDF document because there may or may not be a PDF document. But if you were to search these, you would probably be able to bring up, if not a full text document, maybe be able to locate it in Search USA or some of the other resources that we have. But you see, it's pretty extensive as far as the bibliographic information that shows up when the citation has been exported. Which brings me to my next point. The most important part really is once you've learned how to navigate PubMed using EndNote, you can search PubMed separately and still be able to take citations into EndNote. If I have enough time, I'll show you, but the main thing I wanted to show you was how to transfer citations from Search USA, which is going to be your primary means of locating information. So let's go to a new screen. Let's open that up, go to the USA Library. Now, while I'm on the library page, I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit. I wanted to show you that we also provide support for EndNote, as you know, as I mentioned. One of the places that we have EndNote information about is in the library guides area, which if you can search by how-to if you'd like, but the quickest way, in my opinion, is just go to A to Z, click on that, and in the A to Z area, go down to where it says Citation Managers. You'll see it right here. And we have a guide that's pretty much, and the guide is just, library information just to help you locate various resources easier. So that's essentially what the purpose of the guides are. Now we have the introduction to the citation managers that we support, but the one that you'll probably, of course, want to take a look at here is EndNote. So the EndNote tab, you can click on that, and much of what I'm going to talk about really in the next few minutes, I'm only going to limit it to a few of these, but most of these sort of miniature guides that I have, pretty much with screenshots, detail, from place to place. Like this is the one for locating full text on the web that I just did a minute ago with edit preferences, going to select the appropriate database search platforms and then going from there. So I try to do it as step by step as possible. Not all of them are 100% perfect, but they're pretty close. So that's where a lot of the information, especially a lot of the stuff I'm about to talk about, is really going to be the next few things that are located here. So if I'm going too fast, or if you need me to, or if you need to go back to something, you're probably going to find it in this little guide here. This is recorded as well. This video right here is a previous recording I think I did in October, maybe. I think that I did in October. It's here. But just to let you know that if you need like the slower version of it, as far as like me not moving so much or jabbering too much, these are where like the little miniature guides are with the with screenshots and directions and things like that. So Search USA. So we're going to go to just really essentially the library homepage and start from there. I'll do similar search. I'll do one for stroke rehabilitation. Excuse me. Virtual reality. And then I'll do search. And of course, if you're using any of the search tools and you haven't already, go ahead and log into Search USA. Hello guest up here at the top. Enter your USA email address and the corresponding password. I'm going to take a drink really quick, excuse me. getting dry. So once that's ready and good to go, let's say that this is a good article for my research that I'd like to use as I'm browsing through Search USA. I see this one immediately and I say, this looks like a good one. What do I need to do to export it or to transfer it into EndNote? What do I have to do? Well, what you're going to do is you're going to click on the site or the entry, and then you're going to go over here to Tools, right? And from Tools, you're going to scroll down to where it says Export. Okay. Click on Export. Now, luckily for us, the default is the direct export in RIS format, which is the format most notably used for a lot of citation managers. EndNote, as you see, Zotero, although not always, but that's a whole other day. But just in general, this would be the file format that you would save. Now, I'm in Google Chrome. This is my browser that I'm using is Google Chrome, but it works similarly in Firefox, as well as I constantly call it Internet Explorer, but I think it's Edge now, I think, but it works essentially the same way, where if you click to export, it'll pop up and then you hit save. If it's Firefox, it'll pop up here. It'll pop up like right in the middle of your screen and say, do you want to save a file? Then you would click yes. If it's Google Chrome, it won't ask you. You'll click on it to download and it'll immediately start downloading down here. Now what this is, and if you're an Internet Explorer, it'll pop up down at the bottom, similar, but in the middle area. But what this is really is that it's transferring all of the bibliographic information that's here, everything that's in this or not necessarily everything in the abstract, but all of the data that's here, and it's transferring it into a bibliographic file that's located here, that all you have to do is click on the file to open up the bibliographic information in EndNote. So it's been downloaded, so I'm going to click on it. When I click on it, it takes a few minutes. You'll see immediately, it'll say imported references 1, which is the reference, as you can see by the title, and the author is the one that I just downloaded. Once the citation has completely been imported, this little feature, or this little part will completely disappear, and the reference will be added to your library. And I can actually show you, I think. Where it is, if it's not already in there. Yeah, there it is right there. So, but you'll notice one thing that it doesn't do when you search from Search USA and transfer the citation or the bibliographic information into your library, is that it doesn't take the full text document into account. Now, before I do that, I want to go back and just check something, because again, I'm not the most, I don't like to plan these sessions out because I don't feel like life's that way either. So I'm going to make sure that it wasn't in my PubMed search, which would have meant that we maybe would have found the full text document. It doesn't look like it was. It looks like it was like the way I just did it. I imported it. So what I'll do is I'll try to locate full text. I don't know if I'll be able to or not. Most likely, I'll have to go to back to the record that's in Search USA, aka EBSCO Discovery Service. Click on PDF full text. then download it. And another cool thing, or at least I remember this being cool, is, pardon the pictures of my kids, this is the article I just downloaded. You can attach it. So you can, I think you can drag or drop, like so the article is saved here. You can drag, drop it, and there it is, yeah. You can do that, or, let's see. No, it just got rid of like everything, but that shouldn't be the case. There is a way. Oops, didn't mean to do that. That's not what I wanted to do. All right, what I wanted to do was this. So instead of the drag drop for this one, I'm going to go to the attach file. That actually is make more sense. What I just did, the drag drop the whole PDF into EndNote, you can do that. And if it's a well put together PDF document, that it will extract the bibliographic information. But I'm not sure why it didn't do it for that one, but I think it may be because we already had a citation available, but I'm just going to go ahead and upload it to it. It makes it a little bit easier so you can see what that looks like. Where'd it go? There it is. So now it's associated with that document. So there's that. 953, I'm going to quickly show you, this is the Search USA part is really one of the most important parts. I think everything else is I cover in those documents, but the documents I showed you that are part of the EndNote guides. But one of the main things I really wanted to show you now is a Word document. How to input citations that you locate using Word. So let's say this is our paper that we're working on, a double spaced. This is just gibberish, mind you. So I come to the end of end of a sentence, and I want to add an in-text citation. Well, there's a couple ways you can do it. The first way you can do it is by going in Microsoft Word, go to the EndNote X8 add-on. So when you download EndNote, one of the things that you get with your download of the X8 edition is that you get this Microsoft Office Word add-on, which you also it adds it to the other Microsoft Office products, such as PowerPoint as well. So what you would do is you click the area that you want to add the citation, and this is probably one of the coolest things too. Click on EndNote, the EndNote add-on at the top, go to Insert Citation, and click Insert Citation, and it'll make you search for your doing it this way will make you search your own library. Yet, I have not figured out yet how to display my EndNote library so I can just pick and choose while I'm in Word. But I have figured out a way around it. The way around it is to have your EndNote desktop version open, which is the one we've been working with all night. And you go to this tool right here, which you click on, maybe let's say that part in the document that I wanted to enter. Keep that still blinking and go to my EndNote library, click on a reference like so. Click on this reference and then go to the insert citation. You can do Alt #2, it looks like, for it if you want to do the hotkey. But any rate, this is how I've learned how to do it. That seems to be even as far as easier. It's not technically easier. I mean, it may be an extra step, but it's easier as far as not having to search for the article like you would in Microsoft Word, like if you don't have it around you. This is why sometimes it's good to have it open on two separate screens. But basically, that's pretty much what I did. I just clicked on the entry there. And it gave me the in-text citation in APA format immediately because I have it set to APA format. You can change it to whatever you want. In fact, let's see, I forget references. Yeah, you can set it to whatever style that you want to set it at. But anyway, what it does is that it automatically, once it generates the in-text citation, and one of the things that's to me a little annoying about EndNote is that if you do it that way or do it anyway using this, is that it automatically generates the bibliographic information as well, which if you're in the midst of writing a paper, you don't need, right? I mean, the only time that you're really going to need the actual like a bibliography, reference list portion is what at the end of the page. But while you're writing, you don't really need that. So one of the things that I've sort of figured out on my own using EndNote, at least to bypass this, there may be another way to do it, I'm not sure, but the way that I've been able to do that as far as not having to input a citation and then delete the in-text when it shows up is what I've done is I've done this thing that's called, instead of it, naturally when the add-in is downloaded, it automatically has this thing that's called instant formatting, which is under categorized references. So instant formatting, when instant formatting is on, it'll do both at the same time. It'll do the in-text citation, as you see here, as well as the bibliography. Now, some of the other tools like Zotero and also Mendeley, you have to, most of the time, tell it what you want, whether you want an in-text citation or you want the bibliography. With EndNote, or at least from what I can figure out, at least at this moment, is that EndNote doesn't allow you to distinguish between in-text citations and citations for your bibliography. So you kind of have to get creative. And one of the things I figured out how to do was, say I'm writing my paper and I want to do an in-text citation. Well, what I do is I go to the instant formatting, which is automatically turned on, and I turn the instant formatting off. So just do that. And let's say I choose this one again. I choose you, go to citation, and it looks really wicked, right? Super weird. That's not an APA, citation, obviously. But it's called an unformatted. I think it's unformatted and I can't remember the other part of it, but it's an unformatted citation. Because basically what I've done is I've disconnected my EndNote library's citation generator, and just to make the writing process easier. Because then at the end, when I want to input the actual bibliography, all I have to do is go to the instant formatting and turn it on, and then it adds it right back to what it should be. See, it just makes it a little bit easier as far as like the typing goes, like as you're going along and just inputting references, because by the end, if you turn it back on, all of this will turn back into like to an A citation or to an AMA citation or whatever. But anyway, I've just unloaded a lot of information. It's after I just realized it's 10:01. I have an appointment that I have to get to immediately after this. So is there any questions that I can answer right now? I really appreciate you guys for coming out tonight. I know it's a lot of information, and if you guys want to reach out to me to work with me one-on-one or groups to work with me, I'm more than open to that. Next week, I'll be doing a citation demo for Zotero as well, which I'll go through Zotero. I don't know if you guys are required to use EndNote or if you can choose between the different tools, EndNote, Zotero, or Mendeley. But I would tell you that, in my opinion, Zotero and Mendeley are just so much easier to use and so much more user-friendly. So if you have to just use it for this assignment, then I think I've showed you enough just to get by. But if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. One thing I would like to know before you all take off, and it's a question I have to ask, is whether or not you guys learned something new tonight. All you have to do is answer yes or no. I'm going to put the poll up now. And here's the poll. Just click yes or no. Again, I really appreciate you all for coming out tonight, and thank you for being patient. And like I said, I know it's a lot of information, and I have a tendency to ramble. So thank you for being patient. And again, if you need me, contact me. Here's my contact information. I'll put it front and center there if you need to get a hold of me somehow. I hope this was all helpful. You too, Tara. Thank you. Thank you all. I appreciate it. I hope you guys got something out of this. And again, let me know if you have any questions. Gonna go ahead and turn the recording off.